The November 27th, 2018 meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Brew?
Here.
Chairman Hebert?
Here.
Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Rocco? Here. Mr. Wilcox? Here.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there? Sorry? Oh. Well, thanks for joking, Cindy. Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Seeing none, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the October 23rd, 2018 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk?
Referral 18-0305.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Rockow. Any discussion? Legislator Cayley.
This is what I want. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration. If I'm understanding correctly about the program, it is taking fingerprint scan data from the Monroe County area and having it stored in Onondaga County. Is that correct?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. Representative of the Sheriff's Department doesn't appear to be here currently, but that is my understanding as well.
All right, thank you. And then through the chair, when we're talking about this, this has been going on for a few years?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I believe that was what representatives of the Sheriff's Department indicated yesterday evening in response to a similar question, and we are able to ascertain that, yes, indeed, at least this agreement or this practice existed in last year. I have now I look at it, a resolution from 2010. It's an IMA for the storage and use of live scan system, allowing for electronic transmission and storage of fingerprint, mugshot, and related booking information with Onondaga County.
All right, thank you. And then through the chair, was this also, did this also include whatever data information we had on in our files here?
Through you,
prior to 2010.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, we'll have to ask the Sheriff's Department to provide a more detailed answer to that.
Okay. I'm asking a bunch of questions. I don't have, Mr. Chairman, I don't have a problem with this, but I had a concern because it doesn't mention, number one, redundancy in the referral. So if anything happened in Onondaga County, we're out. And I don't know if this is on-site storage or if it's cloud storage. And the other question is, through the chair, what the capacity would be before this contract might go up. And if then that were the case, the follow-up for that was, why are we not investing in storage or thinking of investing in storage in the near future?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, again, I'll have to defer to the Sheriff's Department for some of the answers to your question with regards to, and if I understand it correctly, you know, what aspect of this and these records may be stored locally and accessed locally. Are we storing and accessing them remotely through the cloud? Possibly everything's located in Onondaga and to the detail that it's located in Onondaga. But what I can tell you that was an answer provided last night was that this is also the point of transfer from which once the records are put in the Onondaga system, then they are then transferred to the state. Okay. So this is the point where, you know, these records are then pushed up to the state.
Thank you. And then I think what I'll do at this point, Mr. Chairman, is that actually brought another question to mind as to whether or not it's stored at the state or stored at Onondaga and the state. So I'll just submit a few questions and I'll be able to ask this again at Ways and Means.
Sure.
Sounds great. Legislator Brew, excuse me.
Through the chair to the administration, assuming, acknowledging there are no sheriff's representatives here tonight, but assuming we've had this contract previously with Onondaga County, do we know if the contract amount this year is the same as it has been in previous years?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the not-to-exceed amount in the 2010 resolution was the same of $1,000.
Through the chair, you'd mentioned 2010.
2010, I'm sorry. Yes, there's a 2010 agreement that had the same dollar amount as the resolution that or the referral that you're looking at now.
Okay, and through the chair, I'm assuming it's a multi-year agreement.
It was a 5-year agreement then, and no, it was an agreement that spanned from 2009, August 10th of 2009, through December 31st of 2013, with an option to extend the agreement for 5 additional one-year periods. And in each of those one-year periods, the amount for the service was set not to exceed $1,000.
Right. Then through the chair, here we are to today's date. Thank you. And a follow-up question. Do we have similar agreements with any other counties other than Onondaga County?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I suppose you mean with regards to data storage?
Yes.
Yes. As I said last night in answer to a previous question, there is, for instance, an agreement that we have with Erie County that's reciprocal for disaster recovery for each county's data storage. They store their data at our remote location at Building 400, and we send our data to them, and I believe that's a no-cost agreement.
Okay.
That we each operate and set up our own server within a rack that it's provided for in the data storage rooms that each county maintains.
Right. Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, one more, I guess, comment is that Legislator Cayley's question asked the capability of redundancy. I think most servers do, most off-site storage facilities do have their own local redundancy, sometimes 2 times, 3 times over. I think that's probably a given. I think Legislator Cayley may have been more interested in if it were redundant off-site storage capability.
Is that a hand or is that a?
That was almost a hand, Mr. When the legislator's done, I just wanted to follow up.
Legislator Cayley, please.
My concern with this, through the chair to the administration, is that even through the years, while this has been going on through 2010, redundancy is not offered to us to know. And had the question not been asked with regards to Erie County, what you described, what the administration has described, is true, in fact, redundancy between the two governments. And so what I would like to see going forward is whether or not the redundancy in our minds is sufficient. And I'm sure administration feels that it is, but since we are the people voting on it, I would like to know that as well. And so that's why that question is always asked.
So through you, Mr. Chairman, if I may, it was the question, are we backing up the data locally and have a local backup? Is this then redundant off-site backup to that? Or how does it function, and how many copies do we have of the data, essentially?
Through the chair. Quite frankly, if Onondaga had an atomic attack, which they wouldn't, is the data any other place? That is the question. And is it outside in Erie County, or is it somewhere else? And yes, I am looking for whether or not back through history that is backed up. I'm assuming it is too, but I'm just looking for the assurance. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0306.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Brew. Is there any discussion? Legislator Rockow.
Through the chair to the administration, I understand this is for security services that the Oneida County Sheriff's Office provide. Do they also provide transportation? Is this something that they pick up the inmates in Monroe County? And
Through you, Mr. Chairman, on a general basis, we're responsible for the transportation of our inmates, but we'll make sure that there's no transportation aspect with regards to this referral.
And to follow up to the chair, to the administration, why would someone go to the Central New York Psychiatric Center? Would they be because they're a Oneida County resident, or what regulates them to go to that facility?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, it's been my understanding in the past in discussions with regards to this agreement that this is simply to ensure capacity when the Rochester Psychiatric Center doesn't have a secure bed.
Thank you.
Legislator Brew.
Through the chair, on average, how many inmates do we send down to the Oneida County Psychiatric Center?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'll have to ask the Sheriff's Department to provide an accounting and a census of how many inmates are sent to this location.
Thank you. And through the chair, again, it mentions the Central New York Psychiatric Center. Do you know the location of where we're transporting the inmates to?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, personally I do not, but we'll get that information for you.
Thank you.
Legislator Cayley, did you still have questions? Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0310.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Rockow. Legislator Brew.
Through the chair, was the increase across the board, or did that, or did it hit an individual municipality?
Through the chair, the increase was the overall increase that we got, and then Law Enforcement Council decided to divide the amount equally among all the agencies that were participating, and that's what they did last year as well.
Okay, thank you. And through the chair, another question would be, what are the specified weekends, crackdown weekends?
Through the chair, I believe it starts with Memorial Day. We have the option to do earlier ones, but by the time we get all the contracts done, they do Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day. I believe that's it.
Thank you.
Legislator Rockow.
Through the chair, to the administration, we know that there's additional officers or deputies are required. Are they specific to the, like in my town, the village of Brockport, do they have their own forces, or does the county sheriffs work with them on this, or are they?
Through the chair, these crackdown weekends have to be joint. It can't be. It's not just one agency doing it. So it might be with the sheriffs with Brockport, or whatever. They coordinate. The different agencies coordinate together. So it has to be like a multi-jurisdictional thing working together. Checkpoint.
And through the chair of the administration, when that happens, that's all the organizations together on this specified weekend?
Through the chair, it depends on how they structure it. It has to be more than two. So, they may do sheriff's C-zone may be out in Brockport, and then A-zone, so it may be sporadic throughout the county, but it has to be multi-jurisdictional.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Referral 18-0311. Authorize.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Brew. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in, back to Mr. Brew.
Through the chair, what is the goal of victim impact panel What is the specified goal?
Through the chair, there actually is one tonight, and what happens is defendants get sentenced to listen to victims that have been affected by a DWI crash. Either they've lost a loved one, they've been injured themselves, or whatever. And we usually have 3 speakers that speak to the defendants to hopefully change their outlook and attitude towards it.
Thank you. And one follow-up question is this an annual agreement? And if it is an annual agreement, is the amount this year the same as the previous years?
Through the chair, this is an annual agreement with all the agencies. And what happens is the way the budget is projected is we look at the number of arrests from the prior year, project them out to the current year, and then funding, the percentage of funding that's allocated to law enforcement gets divided up by a formula set by Law Enforcement Council where it's $3,000 as a base, and then they get it allocated among the percentage of arrests that they had, each agency.
Right. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 18-0312.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Rockow. Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, I know that this has been going on for probably a gazillion years, but I guess I would ask, since we usually assume that all Monroe County police officers are trained in the use of firearms, is it that the case that all our officers are trained to date?
Through the chair, what happens is yes, they all need to be recertified every year and trained and then recertified. And then depending on the schedule, the breakout of who uses the range is when their recertifications are due, I guess. And also some towns and villages towns have their own firing range, so they're all the range is available to all of them, but not all of them use it if they have their own.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Referral 18-0326.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Brew. Any discussion? Legislator Rockow.
Through the chair to the administration, is this the first intermunicipal agreement of this kind between the Board of Cooperative BOCES 2 and the DES?
Through the chairman, no. The first agreement with BOCES dates back to 2005.
Okay. Now, what type of certification do the trainers have? Where do they come up with their training program?
Through the chairman, we work through BOCES 2's Center for Workforce Development, and they are our educational coordinator for a variety of different programs, both mechanical, wastewater plant operations, OSHA, and other safety training. They have trainers that are BOCES employees, but they will also coordinate training from other outside trainers where they don't have the specific skill set.
Through the chair to the administration, do your operators, do they receive some type of credit or certification to keep up their licenses through these courses?
Through the chair, that is correct.
Thank you.
Legislator Brew.
Through the chair, commend the Mike and his staff for the training initiatives. I firmly believe good employees are well-trained employees. And to that, which DES staff is required to complete the training? Through the chair.
Through the chair, it's really a wide variety of staff that receive training. Plant operators will receive specific training related to water resource recovery. We have mechanics who receive training on welding and pump maintenance and technical troubleshooting. We have folks who work in the household hazardous waste at the Eco Park site that receive specific OSHA training related to household hazardous waste collection. So we've got a wide range of training that we offer our employees within DES.
Okay. And a follow-up question to that is this just designated, is this ongoing training for aging staff, or is this just for new hires?
Through the chair, this would be training that may be annual in nature. It may be one-time training necessary to receive wastewater certification, or it could be for a new employee that had not had that training prior to employment with the county.
And through the chair, one more question. The content of the training, is that something that you feel BOCES has adequately developed that meet the needs of DES, or was DES involved in developing some training curriculum that would specifically apply to the employees?
Through the chair, we work very closely with BOCES in developing the training, what we need, when we need it, and for whom. And I would say we have a very cooperative relationship as we develop the program and identify trainers within the industry to support areas where they may not have the trainers on staff.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0342.
Moved by legislator Brew, seconded by legislator Rockow. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0346.
Moved by legislator Rockow, seconded by legislator Brew. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0355.
Moved by legislator Brew, seconded by legislator Rockow. Is there any discussion? Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at notes, and through the chair to the administration, it looks that the amount less this year is the same amount that was accounted for in an agreement with Mendon. Was Mendon dropped?
Through the chair, that is correct. Good reading there, legislator. Town of Mendon has not been utilizing their funds over the past year, so we decided to allocate that to our planning and events that you'll see in the Human Services and Ways and Means meeting.
Thank you. And then through the chair, were they aware that through the chair, was there conversation that they're not using their funds?
We have tried to get a hold of them to no avail, but we have notified them that they will not be receiving funding this year.
Thank you. And then through the chair, could you tell me the timeline for getting a hold of them and not renewing with them?
I do not have, through the chair, do not have exact dates of when emails were transferred, but we can look for those for you.
Thank you. And then that's it. Thank you.
Legislator Rockow.
Through the chair to the administration, do the towns and villages provide you of how the allocated funds were utilized? You mentioned that I think it was the town of Mendon was not utilizing that, so you must know that they're not utilizing it.
Through the chair, that is correct. Each year we have an end-of-the-year report that OCFS requires us to ask of our, not just municipalities, but also agencies that are receiving funding, and the folks obviously have been returning those. Town of Mendon, when we allocate funding, we send out a letter per the OCFS standards. We send out letters saying this is how much you received this year, and please follow all the guidelines and standards of the OCFS process. And Mendon did not return, for example, did not return that to us this year for 2018 when we let them know of their allocation.
Legislator Brew.
Through the chair, the referral mentions that a formula based upon a youth population is used. So through the chair, the question is, where would that data be attained in determining the amount of youth residing in each town?
Through the chair, OCFS provides the formulas that we use. Our finance department acts on that, and then we write the allocation letters every year notifying agencies and municipalities of how much they'll receive.
Okay.
And that is for youth development program funding that we are discussing tonight.
Thank you.
Legislator Kaley?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to clear up one thing. You gave me a compliment, but I'll pass that compliment along to staff. I can't take credit for seeing that. However, I would want to ask if next year or in subsequent years, if Mendon wanted back into the funding, I'm assuming that they're aware how to do that, even though they didn't respond this year?
Through the chair, that is correct. If they were to request that, we would honor that.
Thank you.
I have one question. Could you please provide the committee a copy of the approved Child and Family Services Plan?
Oh, we can do that, sure, through the chair.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Item carries. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Referral 18-0357.
Moved by Legislator Rockow, seconded by Legislator Brew. Legislator Wilcox. Been quiet tonight.
I know, till now. Through you, Mr. Chairman, could someone from the administration please let me know, or please inform me as to how many beds we had at this facility last year?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we had 2 reserved beds last year.
Okay. And for this year, through you, Mr. Chairman, how many beds this year do we have?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, for calendar year 2018, we had 2 reserved beds.
Okay. And through the chair, how many children did we end up sending to that facility?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I don't have the data with me, and a representative from DHS will be better positioned to provide that information, and we will get that to you when I get a chance to speak with them.
That's fine. And through you, Mr. Chairman, would it be, say, I know you can't answer precisely the number, but it would be safe to say that we did send children to the facility?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry, the commissioner's here.
No
I
problem.
apologize.
Through the chair, would you mind repeating the question just for the benefit of the commissioner?
Yeah. So the initial question, maybe the commissioner can answer the initial question, which was how many children have we sent to that facility this year? Through the chair.
Through the chair, I don't have that number in front of me, but that is something that we can get for you.
Okay. And through the chair, the follow-up question was, even if we don't have the precise number, is it safe to assume that we did send children to the facility?
We did, yes.
Okay. Through the chair, are we aware of any reports of abuse at this facility?
Through the chair, I'm not aware of any abuse, but I will follow up with my Director of Child and Family Services on that.
Okay. In that case, it's probably safe to say you're not aware of reports that were in the newspaper on October 24th of forcible touching and endangerment of the welfare of a child at that facility? Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Through the chair, I'd have to take a look at that article.
Okay. Until I can actually determine whether or not this occurred at this facility, I'm actually going to have to vote no on this particular referral. All right, because again, it sounds like, through you, Mr. Chairman, we're saying we're not aware of any reports.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I am aware of the article in question. I did make an inquiry. I don't have any documentation to support it, but my inquiry, I was told that the individual that is involved in the accusation that was in the paper no longer works at the facility. I will double check on that and let you know.
I appreciate that. Through you, Mr. Chairman, have we asked for, since this report, have we asked what steps that the facility has taken to ensure the safety and welfare of the children there?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I will look into that.
Okay. Again, thank you very much. Again, at this time, since we don't have answers to those questions, what steps have been taken to ensure that this won't happen again? I'm going to have to vote no. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Brew?
Yes.
Ms. Cayley?
No.
Mr. Rocco?
Yes.
Mr. Wilcox?
No.
Chairman Hebert?
Yes.
3-2, referral passes.
Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none. There being no other matters, the November 27th, 2018 meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Intergovernmental Relations Committee will be held on Tuesday, December 18th, 2018 at 5 p.m.